Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists, and back in the format, it's Orcust. Specifically, Scrap Orcust, piloted by Ryan at the most recent Portsmouth Regional in the UK. Now this was a just sub 100 person event, and Ryan piloted this Orcust list to a top 4 finish. Very impressive. Given that, most people have pretty much given up on the deck at this point. Let's run you guys through the list, and then we'll get the additional info from Ryan. So, 1 Armageddonite, 1 Dark Grapper, and triple Scrap Recycler, all of these being your main combo starters. Then there's 1 Jet Synchron and 1 Scrap Golem for the full Scrap combo, triple Nightmare, double Skeleton, and 1 Bombard just to make Nightmare in the hand actually viable, and same with the Skeleton as well. Double World Wand, 1 Gizmek, 1 Nessie, 1 Snick, 1 Jackalope, just 1 here, and then triple Nibiru, triple Ash Blossom, and double DD Crow. So I think for this event, which was like really heavily, it was quite a lot of weird combo decks where they didn't put up the most oppressive board, but they just sort of broke your boards, things like Dinosaur. They really dominated it at this particular event. So I think these were very good hand traps for that particular matchup. For the rest of it, we've got triple Instant Fusion, triple Orchestrated Return, double Allure, 1 Rotor, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Foolish, 1 Babel, and 1 Crescendo. For the extra deck, there's 1 Link Rebo, the Scrap Wyvern for the combo, the IP Masquerena, 2 Galatea, not opting to play the third because you can get more utility out of the other stuff anyway, and you have so much recycling ability with all of your other stuff, so that's fine there. 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, 1 Longyesu, 1 Trisbane, 1 Zeroboros, just so that you have like the pseudo FTK versus a lot of decks. And then Borosword, double Dingyasu, 1 Thousand Eyes, and 1 El Shaddai Winder. Because, of course, setting up your Dingyasu Winder play is always going to be very, very strong. For the side deck, triple Droll, triple Twisters, triple Mine, double Dark Rule No More, triple Evenly, and 1 Red Reboot, and that rounds it off for this particular list. And quite the change we've had relative to the previous list. A lot of the versions of Orcust that I've seen recently have been playing much higher danger counts, a lot more draw spells. And instead Ryan's come back with a just very solid, you've got your 5 proper starters, otherwise you just start your combos with an extender and 1 of your Orcust cards. So yeah, very strong. Got some interrupts in here too. Let's get on to the extra commentary from Ryan then. So we'll kick things off with the rounds that he played. It was a 7-round event, and he just had a single loss here. So round 1 he went up against Carlo Wootton, who was playing a Rocket Dragon Link deck, and this is the guy who ended up coming 5th. So Ryan had never played against the deck before and had just basically had to read every single card that the opponent summoned. So he just sort of held hand traps for cards that he knew, like LP. So Carlo won game 1, and then in game 2, Ryan went first and won it, and then in game 3, Carlo went first and got Nibiru'd and then pushed the game. So pretty solid 2-1 there. Round 2 against Dino Shaddai, lost the roll again. The opponent went first but didn't open too well. They got ashed on their Shaddai fusion, and they were only able to end on Ultimate Conductor and an Overraptor. So Ryan was able to go for game pretty quickly there. Game 2, the opponent bricked on a Winder? Yeah, Ultimate Conductor this time. So Ryan just drew Mystic Mines, sat on that, and then kept passing until he was able to go for game with the other cards that he had. I think is that it for that one? Yep. And then for round 3 against Pure Mech Knight. He finally won the die roll this time, Ryan, but the opponent wanted to go second anyway, so it didn't matter. Ryan ended on a Winder, Dingyasu with a full grave setup so that the opponent couldn't push through. Game 2 was a very similar story, but Ryan ended on IP Galatea and Crow, so obviously not able to go for game immediately, but did have enough to stop the opponent for a few turns. And then he did have to actually play through 3 copies of Different Dimension Ground, which obviously massively hinders this deck. You just really get slowed down by that, but finally he was able to get enough damage on board to win game 3. And then Altergeist Mystic Mine, piloted by Alex Robertson, who came second. every regional, but they're in the same room, they face each other in the 4th round, and this was it. So he thought that Alex would be on Spiral, because we have seen Alex piloted Spiral to a few regional tops recently. So Ryan just made Winder Dingirsu just for the opponent to normal summon Melisseek and activate Mystic Mine. And obviously there's no outs in this deck, so Ryan decides to just go straight to game 2. Made the opponent go first. Only saw the twin, and the opponent had a judgment, so just ended up stuck under mine yet again and had to scoop it up this time around. Into round 5 against Shadol Infinitrack Train. Won the roll, went first with IP and Grave setup, so that's pretty strong. Sent the first rank 10 away with Dingirsu, and then Ash the Urgent Schedule, so the opponent just had to scoop at that point. Game 2, Ryan went first, opened 3 instant, 2 Twin Twisters from the side, as the train lists that he had seen previously were all running mines, so you basically need to play some kind of out. Luckily the opponent bricked as well, they were just passing for multiple turns, 3 times actually, until Ryan drew a Scrap Recycler and was able to go to game from there, and a turn after he was able to just get the OTK. So round 6 against the formidable Harry Moore, playing the Goki strategy, which ended up coming 9th in the end, very very close. So the opponent went first, drew too many hand traps and not enough Goki, so set 1, pass, and then after they ashed and drawed Ryan was still able to go for Borosword Ding, so not too bad there. Game 2, the opponent made him go first, where he ended on IP Galatea with Crescendo Babel and DD Crow, really way too much for the opponent to push through with the cards that he had in hand. So unfortunately, no top 8 here for Harry this time around, but Ryan moves on to the final round, winning the die roll first, opening a fairly poor hand, so just passing with something relatively weak, nibbering the opponent with no follow-up though, so having to scoop it up. And then in game 2, so Ryan went first, only ended on Galatea and a set Crescendo with Ash, but it was enough for him not to die. The opponent playing Salamangreat here slowly gained more and more advantage, eventually got to game. And then in game 3, the opponent went first, didn't open any interaction, so Ryan drew off a lure, got rid of the Roar, baited a Crow by sending Nightmare with Return, and then used Instant Fusion for Thousand Eyes and normal summon Recycler, which is enough to break the board. And the opponent just cannot out the ending for that one. So ending round 7 with another victory, a 6-1 record here for Ryan. For the siding strategy that we've got, he's put the siding strategy based on the rounds that he played. So we have 7 different decks for you guys to check out here. So going first, no changes for Rocket, but going second, you want the outs of the boards, the Dark Rules and the Mystic Mines. For the Dinosaur matchup, again, no changes going first, but again, Mystic Mine coming in. This is an interesting one because if they're playing Lost World Dino, then they should be able to out this. But sometimes, the Mystic Mine does just persist. No changes for going up against Mech Knight, they always make you go second, and your deck is already built strong enough to beat that, based on the side deck that we have here. For against Altergeist, in come the Twin Twisters. When you're going first, take out the dangers, you don't really need them. If you can blow out the back row, the game is slow enough that you'll be alright. And then going second, you also get to put in the Evenly Matched and the Red Reboot too. Against Trains, nothing going first, but for going second, obviously this is a bit less likely, but you're able to put in the Twisters to beat the Mine, and DD Crows to stop the plays there. Goki, no changes first, but again you have to out the boards, so Dark Rule No Mores come in, and you take out the 2 dangers which aren't the Snake, because Snake is the guaranteed summon, and otherwise if you take 2 out, you're not going to be able to get your Jackalope effect off, etc. And for Salamangreat, no changes going first. Once again, you've got the Nibiru's main, which is really strong in this matchup already, and then when you go second, you get to put in your triple Twin Twisters. For some extra insights, obviously this deck is built to go first. However, if you do lose the die roll, you have a fair amount of cards which allow you to break the boards anyway. Because it is a blind first deck, the idea is not to end on like a super crazy board. It's more sort of control. So rather than all the other Orcust which go into like turn 1 VFD or Appaloosa, you just make small boards with follow-up and disruptions. So one Scrap Recycler normally ends you on IP Babel with a full Grave setup for next turn,
and 1 or 2 hand traps in hand if you did open them. But if you open Extenders or an Instant Fusion, it is quite nice to just end on the Window Lock with the Dengirsu, or to be able to make a Topologic Zerobars and a Gizmek, but most of the time just IP with Ding Send and Unicorn Spin is probably enough really there. The win condition is sort of slowly getting enough resources and whittling down your opponent so that you can eventually go for the Boral Sword, or just like put so many big bodies onto the field that they just can't deal with you. Normally that gets achieved within 2 to 3 turns, however this deck can recycle everything, so it's very good in the grind game anyway. The hardest matchup, he said, game 1 he'd say is decks like Altergeist, just because he doesn't run spell trap removal, and main deck anti-combo cards like Nibiru and Crow are really dead here, especially going second. If you know they're on a going first deck, you sort of aim for the Trisbana, Gizmek or Ding play, but Orcust doesn't span the field like Rockets or Luna, so disrupting plays with the Socrates is a lot more impactful, especially when they return your Galatea. In terms of changes, you might change some of the hand traps, maybe adding Phantasme, as it really helps with your consistency, which is a bit of an issue with this one. And it's also dark for your Laws on top of that too. Very good for the Scrap Recycler, as it can be turned into a Wyvern just like Nibiru. So probably run 3 Phantasme, 2 Nibiru, 2 Ash, 2 Crow. And then instead of running Call by the Grave, he chose to play the 3 Dangers. Instead of the 1-for-1ing, he'd be able to just sort of extend if he was interrupted. But with the inclusion, Phantasme would really cut them down, and you'd have an upstart on top of that. Other than that, he's pretty happy with how the deck was. For the side, he would probably cut Dark Rule No More for another hand trap. Something like Skullmeister would probably be alright, because there's quite a lot of going second hates that you could be using that for. Definitely, and also Skullmeister is something that you can bring going first or second, so it's nice to have that option. Would he play the deck again? He says he fully intends to take it to the next event that he goes to. He thinks it's really underrated, this format, and does not get the credit that it should. Dingirsu is so powerful and out so much, the deck avoids most of the popular cards like Dark Rule No More and Droll and Knockbird, and of course nobody's playing Lancer anymore, so it makes the deck a lot more appealing. As for shoutouts, they go to the Kai squad that all came down for the event. Oh, sorry, the Chai squad. I'm used to the Greek letters. Chai is in Chichester. Ethan Herr, Luke Weir, Matt Ellis, Adam Lovett, Connor Buckman, Harry Moore, Joshua Williams, Toby Bassett, Louis Wilson, and Dylan Andrews. And shout out to his locals, CGC in Chichester, and also to Connor's YouTube channel. Check them out, it's Freaky Fish Guy. Take a look now and drop them a sub. And thanks for watching this video, guys. What do you think about Orcust in this format? Is it the deck for you? Is this the new sort of control strategy that you guys are going to be trying out? Would you make any changes to this list? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video.